Hi, welcome to ACE Tutoring. My name is Jen Lally. I am the Assistant Coordinator for Tutoring and Disability Services at Linden Point and Lawrence Crossing sites. It is our hope that this new tutor training program will provide you with a solid understanding of the how-tos and the whys of tutoring at BC3. Every BC3 student enrolled in credit courses is eligible for 1 free hour of tutoring per subject per week. Tutoring is available at all of our sites. During the fall 2015 semester, 435 students applied for tutoring in 707 classes, and 3,616 hours of tutoring were logged. The tutoring program had 87% passing rate, with 75% passing with a grade of C or higher. To accommodate students' requests for tutoring, we have over 80 tutors on staff. All BC3 students who wish to receive tutoring must apply in person. Tutoring is then delivered in many different ways. One way is through one-on-one appointments. Although these appointments are not guaranteed, they are conducted face-to-face. The second way is through small group meetings face-to-face. The third way is through scheduled walk-in labs. These are conducted if staff is available at main and off-campus sites. And the final way is conducted online. This form is available for selected internet courses only. The campus location where you tutor determines how appointments are scheduled. Main campus tutors have a standing appointment with their students. They meet on the same day at the same time weekly with their students. Off-campus site tutors work with their students to schedule their appointments weekly. This information represents the importance of knowing where and when tutoring can occur. Tutoring must take place on college property, at both main campus and off-campus locations, and during operating hours. For main campus, tutoring occurs in the Academic Center for Enrichment, or for short, the ACE. Off-campus sites check with the staff for room availability and hours of operation. Again, it's important to remember that we are a cell phone-free zone. Most of you have already met with a coordinator of tutoring and completed the tutoring application process. If there is any additional information or paperwork that you need to complete, one of the coordinators will be letting you know. Before you undertake your first tutoring assignment, you must complete a few essential steps in order to be eligible to tutor. The first item is the schedule of availability. All tutors must complete a schedule of availability showing times of consistent availability during the week. Many of you have already done this, but if you have not completed a schedule of availability or if your schedule has changed in any way, please see one of the coordinators for a new form to complete. The schedule of availability must be completed by the first or second day of the semester or as soon as possible during the new hire process. If you have some concerns about your consistent availability, please talk with one of the coordinators. The second item is the parking tag. If you are a current BC3 student taking any number of courses, you will be issued a parking tag at the campus police office, which is located on the first floor of the Student Success Center. If you are not a current BC3 student, please see one of the coordinators to complete the parking permit registration form and receive your parking tag. The final item is the photo ID. All peer tutors who are current BC3 students will use their student photo ID when on duty as a tutor. You will not be given an additional ID. All other tutors will need to get a tutor photo ID taken at the HR office or at your off-campus site location. A coordinator of tutoring will assist you with renewing your tutor photo ID upon its expiration. You must wear the BC3 photo ID while on duty as a tutor in the tutoring center. If you have not completed the schedule of availability, this is what the front of this looks like. To complete the form, circle the hours when you are available, X out the hours when you are not available, and indicate when you are on campus and the times you are in class. This is the back of the schedule of availability. List the courses you would like to tutor on the back of the schedule. To view a listing of the courses available at BC3 and those that are needed for tutoring, please visit academic-catalog.bc3.edu. Also, a friendly reminder, if you're a peer tutor, you must have an A or a B in any subject that you would like to tutor. Now that you are aware of the necessary steps to becoming a tutor, I would like to share with you the expectations of tutoring. The definition of tutor encompasses many things. A tutor is a temporary, part-time employee of the college. A tutor is an independent contractor. A tutor is a professional member of the student services team who demonstrates a student-centered philosophy. A tutor is an advocate for BC3 and a campus role model. A tutor is caring and compassionate, but not a counselor nor a life coach. A tutor plays a vital role in helping BC3 students become confident, independent learners. A tutor demonstrates this by listening and responding to students' learning needs, clarifying course content, offering study skill tips and test-taking strategies, providing encouragement and support, displaying a positive attitude, and fostering goodwill. In addition to helping BC3 students become confident, independent learners, a tutor must complete administrative duties. A tutor must faithfully and often check their my.bc3.edu email account. Closely monitor the tutoring appointment book and/or email for upcoming appointments. Keep accurate tutoring records both digitally and on paper. Track hours tutored during the month and submit timesheets. BC3 tutors are not permitted to tutor their current BC3 students privately for pay. If you feel that any of your students might qualify for additional tutoring or benefit from a little extra help, please see one of the coordinators to discuss options. If you are interested in learning about paid private tutoring opportunities, please contact BC3's Career Services Specialist. The information that has been presented so far clearly indicates that tutors are in the helping business. Before moving on to the next slide, please take a few seconds and think of 3 words that you might consider keys to success, and see if they match the next slide. These 3 words characterize the true professional: competence, compassion, and communication. We rely on competence, our expertise, compassion, our ability to connect to people, and communication, as it is what makes the world go round. The 4th key is computer proficiency. In order to complete your duties as a tutor, you must have some computer skill. You will be logging into BC3 computers, accessing the internet, completing digital tutoring forms, and utilizing tutor email. You must also have regular access to a computer, the internet, and email. Now, let's review the fine print of the College Tutor Agreement. This form should look familiar. You've already signed off on the College Tutor Agreement form, which looks like this. We will keep the original on file in the Tutoring Center, and you will have a copy to keep. Let's review. By signing the College Tutor Agreement form, you have agreed and are aware that there are no guarantees of employment. We strictly adhere to college and ACE policies, particularly regarding confidentiality and plagiarism. We must be professional at all times, and we must fulfill job duties. Maintaining confidentiality is required. Information that you learn about your student is confidential. Any sharing of student information between a tutor and a teacher can only occur if and when the student has authorized in writing that information sharing is permitted. Privacy laws apply on and off campus. In short, what happens in the ACE stays in the ACE. There is, however, an exception to the rule, so to speak, within this statement. If you feel one of your students is at risk and needs immediate help, please see one of the coordinators, an administrator on duty, or a campus police officer as soon as possible. If you feel someone is in need of help, but it is not an emergency, please let one of the coordinators know and contact a member of the CARE team, or Campus Assessment, Response, and Evaluation team. You can learn more about the CARE team at bc3.edu/care. It's important to note that scheduling tutoring appointments works differently at main campus compared to the off-campus sites. At main campus, when a student applies for tutoring, the coordinator schedules the first session by emailing appointment details to the student. She copies the tutor on the email. This email notification instructs the student to email the tutor as soon as possible to confirm the first appointment. Upon receiving the student's confirmation, the tutor emails back the student as soon as possible to confirm. The result of this is a student-tutor connection and a date and time for the first tutoring meeting. It would be important to note at this time, the student will confirm the first appointment with the tutor via my.bc3 email. The coordinator will not send an email to the tutor to confirm the first tutoring appointment. Confirmation takes place between student and tutor. If the student does not send an email to confirm at least 24 hours before the appointment starts, the tutor is not required to show up for that appointment. This is an example of the first tutoring appointment email. At the end of the first appointment, the student is expected to schedule next week's appointment before leaving the ACE. Each student self-schedules future sessions by signing up in the red appointment book. The tutor is expected to walk the student through the sign-up process after each session. If the student is not signed up in the red appointment book, the tutor is not required to be at the next week's session. The process for scheduling tutoring appointments at the off-campus sites is as follows. The student applies for tutoring. The coordinator assigns a tutor and emails both the student and the tutor informing of the assignment. This notification instructs the student to reach out to the tutor as soon as possible to set up the first appointment. The process for scheduling future sessions at off-campus sites is as follows. At the close of each tutoring session, student and tutor should discuss and set the next appointment time and date. Any other communication about setting, changing, canceling appointments must take place between tutor and student via the tutor's BC3 tutor email and the student's BC3 email. We cannot stress enough the importance of your my.bc3 email. It is an essential piece to your success as a tutor at BC3. My.bc3 email is reliable, professional, and secure. It is expected that you and your students will communicate through your my.bc3 email to confirm, cancel, and reschedule appointments. Providing personal contact information to your students is strongly discouraged.
Hi, I'm Heather Jewert, and I'm the Assistant Coordinator of Tutoring for the off-campus sites. Right now, I'm going to finish up the last half of your new tutor training program. Okay, so you're officially a tutor and you've received your first assignment and you're ready for your first student appointment. Now what? Well, the first appointment, of course, really sets the tone of all future appointments, and who doesn't want to be greeted with a smile? So remember, a nice warm welcome and introduction of both yourself and the student is a great start. Professionalism is key. The first thing you need to do is review the student contract with your student. This is important for many reasons, but you'll want to pay particular attention to the confidentiality and plagiarism portions. Be sure the student understands that their information will be kept confidential unless they provide written permission. With this in mind, it is very important that the student clearly indicates whether or not they permit you to communicate with their instructor on the contract agreement. That's the little white half-sheet form, by indicating yes or no. Once the student contract has been reviewed, be sure to collect the contract agreement form and turn it in to one of the tutoring coordinators. At this point, you may want to continue by discussing the needs of the student, obtaining a copy of the course syllabus from the student, recording the tutee's student ID number for future use, and finally completing and having the tutee sign the tutor data form. Let's look at the student contract a little closer. Okay, let's take a closer look at the student contract. Okay, so what is the student contract? Basically, the student contract explains the conditions and expectations of the student as a participant in the tutoring program. The first thing you should do at your first appointment is to review the student contract with your tutee. This can be done in a variety of ways. You can review each item one by one, or you can have the student read it themselves and then review and emphasize specific areas of importance. Whatever you're most comfortable with, really. But most importantly, you need to know the contract and understand what it means in case the student has any questions. Of course, keep in mind, if you are ever not sure about something, just ask. We're happy to help with any questions. Once the contract is reviewed, the student will need to sign the agreement form. The signed agreement form should then be filed or given to a tutoring coordinator, and the student should keep the student contract as a reference. This slide shows you the back page of the student contract, which highlights the no-show and cancellation policy as well as the take-home test policy. This slide shows you the back page of the student contract, which highlights the no-show and cancellation policy. This slide shows you what the student statement of agreement looks like. This is the form that needs to be completed after reviewing the contract with the student and then turning it in to the ACE or one of the tutoring coordinators. Let's look a little more closely at the student contract. The first item listed on the contract emphasizes the professional relationship of the tutor and the TT. While you may very well get to know your TT on a slightly more personal level, that is fine and almost somewhat expected. However, always remember that this is a working relationship. The purpose is to assist the student with their academic concerns about a particular course. Please keep in mind, though, that some students may feel comfortable talking to their tutors, and you may find yourself talking about or listening to conversations that are more personal in their lives. If this happens, please delicately try to steer the subject back to the tutoring session at hand. If this doesn't work, or if a TT tells you something that causes you concern, please be sure to let one of the tutoring coordinators know so that the student can be appropriately referred to a counselor. Dealing with personal problems is not part of the tutoring position. The next area of importance on the student contract discusses confidentiality. As we discussed already, confidentiality is key. The second item on the contract states the student will permit the tutor and faculty to discuss with one another information pertaining to the student's learning needs, academic status, grade, progress, etc. If the student does not wish to authorize this, then the student must be sure to indicate it as such on the signed agreement form. Please ensure that your student clearly marks either yes or no. One of the pieces I highly suggest you emphasize with your TT is that attendance is expected. There are so many reasons for this. Common sense tells us that we can't help the student if they don't attend a scheduled session. They're losing out on a very valuable resource. But also, your time is important. If you have a confirmed appointment with a student, you should, and rightfully so, expect them to show up. You've made time for that appointment, and your time is important. I will get into this more in just a second. Also, be sure to remind the TT that communication is important. This actually works both ways, for the student and also for the tutor. Remember, students and tutors must use and read their BC3 email. This is how communication between the tutors and the TTs occurs. So making sure that the communication line is being used is critical to the success of the partnership. Many students still do not like to use their BC3 email, so making it a point to emphasize this at the first appointment is critical. Next, tutoring works when the student works. Tutoring is not a homework service. It should be expected that the student come with their homework done or attempted, and then clarification of problems or course content can be done during the appointment. Finally, regarding the always fun take-home test, before you can assist the student with a take-home test, be sure that you have written authorization from the instructor. When in doubt, check with a tutoring coordinator to get verification if you can do this. Let's talk about accountability and attendance in a little more detail. Now that we talked about confidentiality, let's talk about tutor and faculty collaboration, since they clearly tie together. If you're interested in contacting a student's instructor, we have an established set of guidelines to help ensure proper protocol is being followed. We have established a very simple 5-step process to the faculty collaboration process. Let's take a quick look at the steps. Once you work to identify your student's learning needs, determine exactly what you wish for the instructor to assist you with. Next, contact one of the tutoring coordinators to confirm that the student has given permission to work with their instructor, and to also give the coordinators a heads up on who you wish to contact and what outcomes you are looking to achieve. Only after you have completed the above can you contact the desired faculty member via email. Please ensure when you do this that you copy the tutoring coordinator on your email and also specify to the faculty member that you have confirmed that the student has given permission for you to discuss their academic needs with them. Finally, follow up with the instructor as appropriate, keeping the tutoring coordinators as well as the student in the loop during the process. This is a copy of the handout detailing the steps for faculty collaboration. You can find this in your folder today or in the tutoring workroom or from any of the tutoring coordinators. Let's talk about accountability and attendance in a little more detail. I know I already mentioned the importance of attendance. Well, we do have an attendance policy. Let me review that briefly. In a nutshell, you sign up for an appointment, you show up for an appointment. It's as simple as that. We do ask the tutors track and submit when a student is either a no-show or cancels an appointment. This is important because it's the only way we can accurately monitor and enforce an attendance program. The attendance portion of the student contract is on the back of the contract. On the back, you will find specific details on what exactly is a no-show or a cancellation. In short, a no-show occurs when a student has a confirmed appointment and either does not show up at all or cancels less than 1 hour before the start of the appointment. When this occurs, we ask that you complete the back portion of the tutoring log as a no-show and enter it into the database accordingly. A cancellation is when a student cancels a confirmed appointment with more than 1 hour of notice. I won't get into all the possible scenarios, but basically 2 documented no-shows results in a suspension from the tutoring program for the remainder of the semester. 4 cancellations also results in suspension from the tutoring program. There are different combinations of this that can occur, but this at least gives you an example of how the policy works. Now keep in mind that when you record a no-show or cancellation, an outreach email is sent to the student from our office. This is not an email from you, but from the tutoring department itself. This is a nice but yet firm way of reminding the student that we are aware that they missed an appointment and that we want them to succeed, but yet reminding them that continued occurrences may result in removal from the program for the rest of the semester. This is a sample of the outreach email that is sent to the students. Okay, so let's finish up looking at the administrative or record-keeping duties that are required as a tutor. Yes, I know, more paperwork, but really there isn't much, and truly it doesn't take much time at all to complete. It's very easy, and any of the tutoring coordinators can help you with any questions. The primary tutoring record is called the tutoring data form. This form is done both in paper form and entered into our tutoring database. Yes, both are required. This form does require the student's 7-digit ID number. Tutors should keep track of their assigned students and then turn in a list at the end of the semester so we can shred them due to confidentiality issues. The tutoring data form must be completed each time you meet with a student or if you have a tutee that was a cancellation or a no-show. We ask that you enter these logs into the database on the day the tutoring takes place. It truly only takes a couple of minutes to do this and will assist with accurate record keeping. Here's a look at the tutoring data form. The front of the form requires the date that the tutoring took place, the student's 7-digit ID number. The student should know this number, but if not, just ask one of the tutoring coordinators. You will also indicate the subject tutored and the instructor from the drop-down list. Choose the location at which the tutoring took place. On the bottom half of the form, circle the type of tutoring. It will almost always be by appointment. Indicate the number of students you tutored during that one session, and indicate the amount of time tutored. Be sure to have the tutee sign and date the form at the end of the tutoring session. This is important as it serves to verify that the tutoring actually took place. If you have a student that was a cancellation or a no-show, you'll still complete the top of the front of the form and then complete the appropriate section on the back of the form. As I mentioned before, this form must be entered into the tutoring database as close to the end of the appointment as possible. The form in the database looks about as identical as you can get electronically to the actual paper form itself. This form can be accessed by going to the main BC3 website at www.bc3.edu. Please be sure to ask a tutoring coordinator for assistance the first few times you complete your form. Also, typed instructions are available to assist you with this process. This is what the digital tutoring data form looks like. As you can see, it's almost identical to the paper form. You just need to either type in or select the required information as needed. One of the nice things we are able to do is provide our tutors with a great variety of resource options for tutoring. With thanks to our wonderful bookstore, we have been able to secure most of the textbooks that will be used by our students each semester. As you know, textbooks are very expensive. Because of this and the fact that other tutors may also need to use these books, the textbooks must remain in the tutoring area and cannot be removed from campus. Some of the other items we are able to provide are things like basic school supplies, pencils, pens, scratch paper, etc. We are also happy to be able to offer the use of some of the A&P tutoring resources, and these are kept under lock and key, so feel free to ask a staff member for assistance. And we can also assist you with any photocopying needs that you might have. And lastly, our tutors have priority use of the computers in the ACE Center. So if you're having trouble finding a computer during a busy time of the year, let one of the staff members know and we will be happy to help. Our off-campus sites have most of these same resources as well. This includes textbooks for most subjects. And please keep in mind, for whatever site you work at, if you need a textbook that we don't have, just let us know. We can often contact the bookstore and get it. In addition, off-campus tutors are able to utilize any open classroom or multi-purpose room at their specific sites for tutoring purposes. When in doubt as to what rooms are free, just ask any staff member. All required documents for tutoring are also available at each site. Just help yourself. Just note on the slide the location of the documents at each location. I try to ensure it's kept supplied each time I'm at the campus.
Some additional resources that you might be interested in. We have created a tutor handbook which is currently located in the tutor workroom at the main campus. The handbook contains step-by-step information on most of the day-to-day tutoring procedures. The handbook also contains general information on everything from tutor to faculty collaboration, how to use the appointment book, and various video training links. The BC3 Student Handbook, which serves as a planner and great resource about college policies and general questions, is also available for your use. How to Get Good Grades in College is a great tool that you might want to review or share with your students. This gives basic tips on studying and student success. We also have a BC3 Tutor Training Blackboard site with a lot of great resources on tutoring and tutoring for specific subjects. Check it out. If you're not sure how to navigate through Blackboard, just let us know. And finally, you can also check our non-credit department for various tutor training initiatives or check out resources through the Beck Library.
Last but not least is probably one of the most important forms, the timesheet. This document is important because it's what you need to submit in order to get paid. Let's talk about timesheets. First and most importantly, please check with a tutoring coordinator the first time you're completing your timesheet. The reason for this is that timesheets must be completed in a very specific manner in order to ensure proper payment for your hours. To help ensure proper completion, utilize your monthly work copy timesheet to manually record your hours each month. At the end of the month, ensure you have everything recorded properly by checking with a coordinator and then transfer the information onto the official timesheet that is distributed at the end of the month. please keep in mind that there is a right way and a wrong way to record your hours worked. HR will be providing you with specific record-keeping details in their training. Be sure to turn in your timesheet promptly at the end of each month to ensure payment on time. Also, just a reminder that all BC3 employees have direct deposit. This means that your paycheck will be deposited directly into your account each month on the 15th of the month or whatever working day falls on the Friday before the 15th. The first payment will probably be a real check that you'll need to cash. This is only because the first check is a test check to ensure proper transfer with your financial institution. All remaining checks will be directly deposited. HR will provide you with information on how to access the AVP iPay website to access your deposit information at your convenience. As I mentioned, the work copy timesheet will help you keep an accurate record of your hours worked. Here's an example of the monthly work copy timesheet. The first thing you might notice is that there are two distinct areas for which you can record your time. One says content classes and one says prep and developmental classes. The rule of thumb is if you are tutoring anything that has the words prep or developmental in the class title, then those hours need to be recorded in the prep developmental section. All other courses should have your tutoring hours listed in the top section, which is the content course section. Just so you know, we have the following prep developmental courses. That would be developmental reading, prep reading, developmental English, prep math, and prep algebra. Be sure to enter only the total number of hours worked each day. For example, we don't want to see that you worked from 2 to 4 o'clock. Instead, just write the number 2 for 2 hours of tutoring. It's that simple. Other key things to keep in mind: when completing the timesheet, you must use a pen. When you make a mistake, do not erase or white out the error. Simply put a line through the incorrect information and write the correct information and then initial it. Like I said, there's a lot of do's and don'ts when completing timesheets, so when in doubt, just ask. We're happy to help. The Human Resources Office will also provide you with training on how to complete your timesheets in further detail as well. This slide shows you the back of the work copy timesheet. This is a great tool to help you record who you tutored, when, and what classes. So, you may ask yourself, I have a student that either canceled or no-showed. Do I get paid for that? At this time, peer tutors are not paid for cancellations or no-shows. Associate and professional tutors are paid for no-shows, but not cancellations. The only time an associate or professional tutor is not paid for a no-show is if it occurs at the end of the day and then the tutor is just free to leave. The next thing we will talk about is getting paid for group tutoring. While the majority of tutoring is usually one-on-one, there may be occasion when you're doing group tutoring. This slide shows you how group rates are calculated for your timesheet. When in doubt, just ask. We know this can be a very confusing area. Tutoring 2 students or less counts as 1 hour total. If you happen to be tutoring 3 to 6 students at the same time, you would indicate 1.5 hours on your timesheet. Groups of 7 to 12 are calculated at the rate of 2 hours for each hour tutored. Here's a list of the ACE tutoring staff. This slide is a list of tutoring staff contact information. Please feel free to contact us with any questions. We are very happy to help. You will also find several important websites for your use. Well, you survived your tutor training. We hope that you find your tutoring experience to be as rewarding as we do. Not only do you get paid for it, but it's a wonderfully rewarding feeling to know that you've helped someone achieve their academic goals.
That concludes our tutor orientation. On behalf of Lexi Jones, Heather Jewett, and Beth Runquist, as well as the rest of the ACE Department staff, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you as part of the tutoring staff at BC3.